Hey everybody, thanks for coming to the class, and I'm just making sure that everybody can hear me on our side. I've gotten all the buttons punched and everything looks good on my side, but if you can see a little chat area where you can ask questions, that'd be great to know that you can hear me. I can't hear you. Your microphone is off, and you should be able to see me. I cannot see you. Your webcam is off. Great, thanks, Jason. I appreciate it. So, hope you're all doing well. I trust you're all healthy and you're still busy doing inspections. Today's class is about choosing the best home inspection training program, assuming that, thanks, Tony, Brian, Joe, I really appreciate it. Matthew, thanks for coming. This is about how to choose the best home inspection training program. And it could be a school that's local, it could be a chapter, it could be a college or a university, it could be a community college. There are many community colleges around the country that offer home inspection training, but I have a particular view about that, and I wanted to share some tips about how an individual can choose the best home inspection training program. And it has a lot to do with what other people say. I would say that. And also about the school or organization's accreditation and how they operate. So if you're looking at a school and it's claiming to be accredited, you want to actually look at the accrediting agency of that school to see the quality of that accrediting agency. Thank you. I got my coffee. So if you have a cup of coffee, grab it. And if you have some questions, you can ask questions because our NACHI TV webinars are live and interactive. And I'll try to get to the questions if you have any. Okay, so let's take a look at the tips that I have for you. And there are probably other ways that you can evaluate a school. And really, not all schools are perfect, and not all schools are unaccredited and things like that. There are most schools are fantastic, most organizations are great. But here's some tips on how to determine what you should do. I have 3 daughters of my own. One of them is thinking about going to college, right? And I would never send her to an unaccredited school that I haven't thoroughly looked at. So look for .edu. That's an easy slam dunk. It's so easy. Just look at the domain name. If it says .com or .org, that's fine. That's just fine. But .edu says something very special. .edu is an easy way, is an easy tip on how to choose a best home inspection training program. Look for an illegal use, inappropriate use of the word university or college. Look at the school's accrediting agency. So you have a school, someone accredits the school. Look at that entity. Look at the characteristics of a certification mill. Look for them. I'll show you some red flags. Look to see if the school operates by the 9 national standards. We'll quickly review them. I don't want this to be a boring webinar, but there are 9 standards to which you can hold a school or a training program or an organization accountable to. Look for update. Oh, I don't have 5, I have 7. So you get extra. Extra tips. Extra tip number 6, look for an updated modern set of textbooks and look for the instructor qualifications and level of experience and mastery. Let's check out tip number 1, look for an EDU. That's pretty easy. It's internachi.edu, right? That's very easy. You can type in any other domain and go to .edu, like harvard.edu, pennstate.edu, right? And internachi.edu, we have that domain name, and that is very important because we're accredited by the National Accrediting Agency of the U.S. Department of Education. We're also listed in Canada by NACC, a large group of career colleges. And the EDU domain name is limited to a certain set of post-secondary schools that are institutionally accredited. So when you are institutionally accredited, They look at your whole program, not just the program and courses, but your whole company, your entire corporation, all the employees, everything that you do, all the processes and procedures. They even audit you to make sure that you are fiscally sound and responsible. So institutionally accredited means that the entire institution, and not just a particular program, is accredited by a national accrediting agency. Other types of schools are not eligible to register for a .edu. It's reserved solely for accredited post-secondary schools, colleges, and universities. So tip number one is look for .edu. Look for illegal use of the word university. And there are some fake universities out there. So we wrote an article, nachi.org/fake, if you wanted to take a look at it. And we simply reminded those types of schools that there's a problem using the word college or university in their name or materials describing their school. And if they do so, they could be in violation of federal and likely state laws. So, for example, Florida has its own statutes about using the terms college or university. They're reserved. Those words are restricted in Florida to colleges and universities defined by their law. Ohio restricts the use of the words college or university until it has received a certificate of authorization from the state. New York restricts the terms colleges and universities, generally restricted to institution chartered by the state or an accredited institution. Commonwealth of Virginia has similar laws on their books. College and universities or abbreviations or words of similar meaning in its name or any manner in connection with its academic affairs or business or in any literature, catalog, pamphlet, or descriptive materials. Nevada restricts the use of university and college. Texas, so you understand, most states have similar laws on their books. So look for the use of the word university or college in a school that you are considering attending. Look at the school's accrediting agency. This is kind of odd because you just assume that a school is accredited and has appropriate credentials and you know, is allowed to operate as such according to their standards. And there must be operating according to some kind of standards. If they're accredited by an entity, Bob's accrediting agency, Bob must be overlooking that school in some sort of way, right? I just trust that if a school says I'm accredited, okay, but actually it may be a good idea to take a look at the accrediting agency itself. So let's do that. NCCA. It's a great organization. It's one of the best national accrediting agencies out there. It has accredited and certified hundreds of very good organizations, entities, schools, training programs. They're one of the best. They're really good. US Department of Education is a big entity, right, that controls a lot in the United States. They have national accrediting agencies that kind of work for them. One of them is ACCET, A-C-C-E-T, another great institution, another great accrediting agency, right? Internet School is accredited by that national accrediting agency, ACCET, not NCCA, right? Let's take a look at either one. Let's take a look at both, sorry. So we'll go to the website of NCCA accreditation, and it says, the standards are consistent with the standards for educational and psychological testing. That's really good. I noticed that they have it dated 1999, the 1999 standards. So their standards, NCCA standards, are consistent with standards from 1999. Some of you watching weren't born yet. So these are old standards. Certification organizations. So let's say I want to start an organization, Ben's Home Inspection Association, and I want to train and certify home inspectors. certification organizations like Ben's Home Inspection Organization that submit their programs to NCCA for accreditation are evaluated based on the process and products and not the content. So NCCA accreditation has nothing to do with evaluating the content of Ben's organization. So if I have a home inspection organization, Big Ben's Home Inspection Organization, I'm going to train and certify home inspectors all over the country, and I get accredited by NCCA, right? Or NCCA, not U.S. Department of Education. The content of my accreditation program is not evaluated. So if you're looking at a school or an organization or a training program to become a home inspector, you want to look at the accrediting agency and see what standards they use and what they actually evaluate. They should evaluate the content, in my opinion. Let's take a look at asset. Oh, directory. I'm going to go home. So asset is officially recognized by the U.S. Department of Education since 1978. And they accredit today's colleges and universities out there. And if you search for an institution, we're institutionally accredited. InterNACHI School is institutionally accredited. Everything we do is accredited. Type in InterNACHI, do a search. So InterNACHI School pops up, and it says right here, institution. So let's click it, and there's our address. We are in Boulder, Colorado, and that's our student catalog. And we're an institution, and here's what is actually accredited as well. So we're institutionally accredited, and all of our educational courses, where the hours vary, and the Home Inspector Certificate Program, which is accredited for 549 clock hours. That is accredited too. The U.S. Department of Education has national accrediting agencies that certify, accredit schools, and they evaluate the content. They look at every education course, and exam, and quiz, and assignment, and they accredit the Home Inspector Certificate Training Program itself, the content. Okay, so you want to take a look at the differences between accrediting agencies. So NCCA, great organization, not accredited by the U.S. Department of Education. Asset is. Standards, you want them to be modern. And asset, the content is not accredited, but the standards by which we operate, our education courses and the Home Inspector Certificate Program, the content itself, the training content is accredited, and the examination is accredited. And the Home Inspector Certificate Program, training content is accredited. Everything within the institution itself is accredited. So unaccredited schools and training companies and organizations in the home inspection industry, unaccredited ones have no legal obligation or responsibility to provide education courses and a home inspector's training program that's based upon modern, reviewed, and accredited content. They don't have to, there's no standard by which unaccredited schools have to perform in that way. They can teach from old textbooks. There's a set of old textbooks going around in the home inspection industry that schools use. And that content has not been evaluated or accredited, and it's old. And so you want to pay attention to these things when choosing a home inspection training program. Unaccredited schools, training programs, organizations tend to operate according to outdated standards, teach from outdated books, use unaccredited training content, have no obligation to listen to their students, and certify individuals based upon experience, such as performing home inspections in the distant past. You want to find an organization or a training program that operates by modern standards, where the institution is accredited, The courses are accredited. The training content is actually evaluated and accredited. The examination is accredited. The home inspector training program, the certificate program, is accredited, and everything in the institution is actually accredited. Tip number 5, look at the characteristics, look for the characteristics of a certification mill. They used to call it diploma mill, right? It's simply you pay somebody and they give you a certificate, a training certificate. Well, we wrote an article about that, and that's a really long URL. Sorry about that. So here are the characteristics of a certification mill. A certification mill is an entity that offers a certification based upon the individual's work experience, such as performing a home inspection in the past, with little or no documentation of prior learning. A mill operates, certifies individuals and represents that that individual has completed an accredited certificate program, even though the program was not actually accredited by an accrediting organization recognized by the U.S. Department of Education. Requires the individual to complete little or no accredited evaluated education or coursework to obtain such a certificate, and the mill lacks accreditation by a national accrediting agency. Those certification mills also include organizations and training companies that are more interested in taking your money than providing a quality education. And they often require no technical courses or quizzes or exams in order to be listed on their professional search sites and maps that represent that they are, to unsuspected consumers, a professional that's certified. So there are some red flags. And organizations, I might as well go down to here. The certification credit should be awarded to an individual for recent accredited learning. That makes sense. So if you have a modern certification, if you just got licensed or certified by an entity, right, you want to prove that it's recent. You don't want to say that I took a national exam 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and hold it up and have that old date from the 90s, right? You want your certification to be awarded to you for doing something recent, for you want a difficult training program. So that once you attain that certification and complete that program and graduate, you want to be proud of it, right? You don't want it to be very easy. So credit should be awarded to an individual for recent accredited learning, not primarily for performing a number of home inspections in the past. Those home inspections may have been performed years ago and properly supervised by an unaccredited instructor, performed according to old inspection standards, and with no quality control or quality assurance standards. Certification credit should be awarded to an individual for recent accredited learning that demonstrates theoretical and practical application, which can't be verified by reviewing an individual's old inspection reports from 20 years ago. Certification credit should be awarded to an individual for recent accredited learning and not for the individual's simple affidavit saying that they have experience. Policies and procedures for awarding certification credit must be fully disclosed and available for review by everyone, including accrediting agencies of the U.S. Department of Education. So what I like to show is, if you want to view InterNACHI's accreditation, you go to the U.S. Department of Education's website that lists accredited institutions. So let's have some fun. Let's type in Harvard, right? So Harvard pops up. Harvard University, institutionally accredited, Massachusetts Hall, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Let's go back. Who can we search for? How about InterNACHI? Okay, InterNACHI School, institution, Boulder, Colorado. Click it. So InterNACHI School, and we are accredited, just like Harvard is. We hold actually the same type of accreditation as Harvard. We abide by the same national standards as any university in the United States. So tip number 6 is look to see if the school operates by the national standards for an accredited institution. I'll go quickly through those 9 standards. They're kind of boring, but there's a point to be made. 1, the school has a mission and goals that are compatible with the federal government's mission, scope, and standards, and has an effective planning process to enhance and improve the school's education and training services. So the training program that you enroll in should be provided by an institution that has complied with that first standard. The second standard is the school is capably and responsibly managed, for sure. You should know the owners and the managers and the directors. The school is fiscally sound and demonstrates ethical financial practices. InterNACHI actually puts its tax records on a public website for you to look at. The school's curriculum design and instructional methods or materials, are up to date. They're not old standards. Educationally sound and appropriate for the expected outcomes in the program and courses. Standard 5, the school utilizes appropriate and effective instructional methods or other resources to ensure sound instructional delivery. The school ensures that qualified instructors under professional and capable direction effectively deliver education and training services. Standard 7, the school recruits and enrolls only qualified students who can reasonably be expected to benefit from the education and training services and provide student services appropriate to their needs. So we don't, InterNACHI, we don't actually have a sales force. We don't call people, total strangers, up and promise them that they'll be rich by being a home inspector. The school utilizes appropriate and educationally sound methods to assess student performance, attendance, and achievement. And standard 9, the school utilizes appropriate methods for evaluation to assess institutional effectiveness and to ensure that student outcomes are consistent with the university's, the institution's mission and the benchmarks established by federal accrediting agency. That is a mouthful. Those are 9 very difficult standards to comply with. Only accredited institutions are complying with that standard. InterNACHI has policies. If you wanted to see them, how do you choose a program from an institution that's accredited? How do you know that they are complying with those standards? Well, as for the policies, InterNACHI has policies on everything that we do. Remember, institutionally accredited. So we have a policy on vision, mission, goals, and objectives. We have a policy about our principles of ethics. We have a policy about planning, governance, policy about institutional management, policy about human resource management, policy about our records, financial procedures, financial assistance and scholarships, policy about educational goals and objectives, policy about program and instructional materials. We have a policy about curriculum review and revision. We have a policy about instructional methods, qualifications and instructional personnel, supervision of instructions, recruitment, admissions and enrollment. We have a policy about performance measurements. We have a policy about attendance. We have a policy about student progress. We have a policy on student satisfaction. We have a policy on certification and licensing. We have a policy on completion and job placement. Policies. Our school isn't run by a person who's just making stuff up and collecting your money using old textbooks and teaching you and not really caring what is happening, right? So you want to choose, the tip is to choose a training program that is truly accredited. Look for updated modern textbooks. That's a pretty easy sign that of a good training program. And InterNACHI, through inspectoroutlet.com, sells our training textbooks. So we have a huge, that's not all of them actually. So that's the main set of our accredited textbook. Those are college textbooks, essentially. And those textbooks are great companions to our online curriculum. Every textbook has an online course. So I would recommend going through the course with your open textbook, with a yellow highlighter, making notes in your textbook. The margins are big enough to take those. We did on purpose. You can write notes. There are quizzes within the textbooks and other materials like illustrations and things like that. The online course is more interactive, obviously, has videos and quizzes that give you the right and wrong answer and things like that, and prompts, and it's engaging. So it's a good companion. And when a course is updated, the textbook is reprinted. And we have a policy on updating our curriculum. Every year, Our entire curriculum, hundreds of courses, are reviewed and revised by an advisory council. So there's probably, I would say there's two main reasons, things that trigger a review or an update of a particular course. We have thousands of students taking our courses, and that's a lot of eyes and a lot of opinions, a lot of feedback. And when we get student feedback and someone says, hey, you have a misspelled word, we go back in there and we change it. If, hey, you have possibly a technical error, we go back in and evaluate it and update it. That's immediate, right? And then every few years, when the code changes, our curriculum changes and updates. So for example, International Residential Code is being updated from 2018 to 2021, right? They're going through that 3-year cycle. So when the code, International Plumbing Code book, they just came out. Their 2021 version is coming out. So we're going to, for example, review that code book and look at the plumbing courses that we have and plumbing content and the plumbing textbook. And we're going to update, if needed, any content that's needed. So you can be assured that InterNACHI's curriculum is based upon modern standards, modern training content that is evaluated by a national accrediting agency. And we operate by modern standards, right? So look at the textbooks. Tip 8, look at the instructor qualifications and level of experience and mastery. There are the 4 logos that I recommend looking for. So ask your instructor, are you a home inspector? If you're teaching a home inspection class, you should be a home inspector, a currently certified home inspector. So look for CPI, InterNACHI CPI, Certified Professional Inspector. Look for Certified Master Inspector. These are the best of the best. Look for a Certified Mentor. These are veteran, experienced inspectors who want to share what they know. That's a good quality of any instructor. And look for partner schools. InterNACHI partners up with good schools in local areas, because InterNACHI is this very large online accrediting agency, right? Organization of home inspectors, but we partner up with the local chapters, the local schools, local instructors. So if you're interested, if you're a school and you're interested, become a partner. And if you're an individual looking for a training program, trying to decide how to choose the best training program, look for that logo. So those are the 5 tips with 2 extras. Look for a .edu. Look for those schools that are using the word university or college. Look at the school's accrediting agency. Look for the characteristics of a certification mill. Look to see if the school operates by the 9 national standards. Look for updated modern textbooks and accredited curriculum. And look at the instructor qualifications and the level of experience and mastery. And that was a good introduction to how to choose a good home inspection training program. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'm at internachi.edu, also at nachi.org/contact, where you can see everyone there that works for InterNACHI. We're all on the contact page, and we essentially work for you. So we are available for any of your questions. I know many of you are online right now in this time, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And so I don't see any questions from our live students. So I want to thank you for attending and watching this video. If you wanted to join InterNACHI and become a member of InterNACHI, members have access to all of our accredited online training and certification programs, including our online exam. So if you're interested in joining, please email me. And if you are a student, I'll give you a special offer that you can't refuse. Email, let me type my email. Let's see, was it at the end there? It should have been at the end. There it is, ben@internachi.edu. If you're interested in joining, please email me. Or if you have any questions about anything, I love to talk and help out folks who are wanting to become trained and certified. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining the webinar. I'll see you next time. My name is Ben Gromicko. I'm from Internet Bye.